сайн байцгаана уу үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр Defacto-ны төрөлхийн зочноор Истони улсын иргэн, Европын наад захын орлогын сүлжээний тийм нэртэй төсөл байдаг юм байна. Түүний Истони гишүүн ноён Вахур Лухзалу оролцож байна. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So what exactly you have been doing in Mongolia now?
Well, I arrived to Mongolia to have a better picture of your country because I have a medium-sized company in Estonia which deals with wood products and some other business projects. So in last years we see like there is a big economic growth in Mongolia due to mining activities, and it has been like having an influence to other sectors as well. And partly I'm in Mongolia because I would like to know more about the Mongolian people and your traditions. I have been here since Tsagan Tsar time and will continue to be like more 2 weeks. So that I'm amazed how deep national traditions you have and
Okay. But what is that about unconditional basic income of population that the project you are now working for all around, not only Estonia but all Europe? What is that about?
Unconditional basic income is citizen dividend. This idea is very. This idea has a very long history. In fact, it was mentioned even like 500 years ago in Thomas More book Utopia, and later on it was evolved in many other authors like Thomas Paine. Even the Nobelist economist Milton Friedman has had an ideas about basic income. He called it negative income tax. But I became like interested of basic income since 2 years ago when there was a European-wide citizen initiative to collect the signatures supporting basic income. The European Citizen Initiative is such an official procedure when all citizens in European Union can launch a petition for which they should collect 1 million signatures EU-wide, reach quota in 7 countries in European Union, and when 1 million signatures is in place, then you can make assignment or duty for the European Commission to study this proposal and offer solutions for particular.
So what is your solution?
For particular question. So our goal is to have a basic income in all over the Europe, and which is basically a citizen dividend, which will be paid for each citizen or resident, irrespective of their income, their family situation, whatever. So it's a kind of basic amount.
From where the money comes?
Yes, this is the interesting question. Already, when people hear about basic income, then this question comes first. As we know that state collects various taxes from citizens. Value-added tax,
yes,
and also various other taxes. For example, there are some countries in the world already who apply for their citizens or residents basic income, though very small, but still is it in place. For example, in United States, in Alaska, there is Alaska Permanent Fund which was established in 1976, and since 1982 they pay basic income for every Alaskan resident. It's about from $1,000 to $3,000 US per year. And now the Alaska Permanent Fund is about 50 million big foundation, from which they spend 1 to 2 billion US dollars for citizen dividend every year. So we can talk that in some places in the world, the basic income is already in place. In Alaska, there are like 700,000 residents.
But I understand. But the Alaska Fund is based on certain mineral revenues from the area.
That's right.
And where this money you see, for example, in the European country?
It doesn't have to come only from like natural resources or like other.
So from all taxes, the revenue comes. But however, I mean, why the people who even don't feel that they receive this money a year, compared with the people who most their basic needs need the money, why they should the wealthy people get this money?
Actually, wealthy people also need that money because in life various situations can appear. One time you can be a wealthy person, another moment you can be a person without.
Don't you find this quite a socialistic idea that whether you work or not, you receive anyway some money?
Yes. It might sound socialistic or even communistic idea, but actually in Europe and in United States or North America, like people from various political spectrum sides, they promote basic income. For example, in Canada, the third Canadian party, Liberal Party of Canada, like they in their election campaigns, they also promise for Canadian people a basic income.
Politicians can promise many things, even including the money, which is not existing, like in Mongolia, you see. They are promising everything in the world. You know, of course, it does not happen. Money doesn't grow. And so how you think is successful is it in Europe now?
May I give you another example? Do you know, for example, how pension was introduced?
Yes.
Yes.
Pension and social insurance, all this.
But where are the origins of this pension system, what we have today?
No.
The origin of today's pension system is actually from Germany. In the end of 19th century, very well-known statesman Otto von Bismarck introduced the pension system in Germany because there was a big industrialization going on in Germany, and there was the pension system was kind of method how to attract the people from the countryside to the city, so that to introduce some kind of social insurances for people who are like working in manufacturers. And now we have a pension system which is normal around the world. Like in Mongolia, I believe you have also the pension system.
Yes.
So I believe that the basic income is the idea which will also like become more and more. People start to talk about that, and eventually it will be one day, maybe after one generation or two generations, the same thing as the pension system we have today.
I understand with this concept you cover basic needs of particular poor people first.
Yes.
To have just basic things, what food, shelter, etc. Right?
That's right.
To cover all those basic needs. But I don't understand the other part where more wealthy people should have it instead of they are taxed differently. Then maybe it can be sort of traded off with a tax in a way, deducting.
Well, you know, in society, the rules of the game are different. They are different in Mongolia. They are different in Europe, but they always like carry certain features. And as we are like today's society is highly technological society we live, And for example, in United States, they made 2 years ago a study figuring out that if this technological progress we are like in the midst of continues to go that way in like accelerating level, then about 50% of the jobs what we have today, which human beings are performing, will be performed by the robots, by the machines. So that we see that after 20 years we have like a kind of problem, because if 50% of workplaces are not available anymore, then how can people earn income then? So this is the question.
Idea is noble, and I think it will work out differently in different countries. How does this concept is accepted in Estonia?
In Estonia, this concept is just at the beginning.
I see.
In 2009, Estonian Green Party started to speak about that, and at that time, when I heard about that proposition, then I was also thinking that why and for whom it is benefiting and where the money comes from. That the same question basically you were asking from me. And now this idea is evolving in Estonian society. People talk more and more about it, but still our Green Party is the only one promoting this idea. But I think that as our like civil society in Estonia becomes more aware of basic income and also like these future threats, these are not actually threats that these machines will take over our job. But anyway, as society, as like science-based society, we should like see like in front of us those challenges and prepare for that.
This is sort of raising certain issues in front of the society. In this or that way, we have to solve these issues of people's food, etc. Estonia.
That basic income is it serves really like basic needs. If somebody would like to earn more, he always finds a way how to. Like,
oh, the basic purpose of this project is very noble. I understand. I mean, here we still have people. Estonia and Mongolia, last 25 years, we have rid of former socialist system and trying to find our own way in so-called democratic free market economy, and I understand Estonia is doing much better, and Mongolia still a lot of things to do, in particular in terms of governance. What do you feel while you are here? What do you see the situation in Mongolia compared with Estonia?
First of all, I have been here like 2 weeks only. Like I don't have a in-depth knowledge about Mongolia, but from what I have like studied like from the internet, so that for example that these mining activities, what you have in many places in Mongolia is also like creating some kind of questions in society that how these projects should be like done, that it will benefit more people. So basically you in Mongolia you also might need to establish a kind of Mongolian permanent fund as it is working in Alaska
in Norway.
In Norway. This is a sovereign wealth fund, yes. And
hopefully we go to that directions, though politicians keep promising for many years. I was in Estonia as a year before or so, and I saw wonderful changes in the society, because when I was a student there many years ago in Russia, I went to Estonia. Estonians happy today with economic development you have reached today?
Now, Estonia also has many challenges, though, that for example, after this economic crisis, worldwide economic crisis in 2008, it also influenced many Estonian economic sectors, like people became unemployed in many sectors and were unable to pay banks for their loans and the interest rates. And so now we will see our economy starts raising and maybe will stabilize now these days. But still, if I may say that about 250,000 Estonians living in poverty line or below poverty line.
How many percent of the country?
So it's about 25%.
25%.
Yes,
we have 27%.
And also in European Union, they measured these things and figured out, like in European Union population, which is about over 500 million people, about 125 million are below poverty line. So it means like every fourth European resident. So
when you talk about poverty line, do you refer to the World Bank statistics or to what you refer?
The European Union has its own definitions what it means below
€2 per day or income or?
Yes, and but I believe that majority of those people who are living below poverty line are located in this kind of new Europe, Eastern Europe, Estonia, Baltic states, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. But it's getting worse and worse in developed part of the Europe as well. So therefore, this is now hot topic, how to relieve poverty at the time when many industries and so also workplaces have been moving to China and Southeast countries, so that and Europe has become a place of high value products, but at the time of the crisis, how you sell these very high valued products. So
you were a musician before.
That's right.
What happened?
Well, I had an occupational disease, so one nerve was. I had an operation with my hand, but I was a cello player. Yes.
Cello player, and you have converted your into a new career. Now very active in civic society, in businesses, and you also work as a journalist, right?
That's right. Yes.
And what kind of journalism you do?
Well, I'm from time to time I write articles in Estonian media about basic income, about other critical issues, I believe. For example, these days it's a very highly debated issue in Estonia, Rail Baltic, the railway which connects Baltic states to the rest of Europe. But it's a very big infrastructure project.
What's wrong with it?
It's the project is not wrong, but let's say we are living at the age of when there are a lot of new developments coming up, so that for example, this Rail Baltic is a very costly infrastructure project. So maybe in the future, like in 5 years, 10 years time, we have maybe cheaper solutions to have to solve some infrastructure or transportation logistics issues. So I don't see that there is much point of wasting a lot of public money for costly infrastructure projects.
Interesting. So you Estonians can raise your voice for any major public infrastructure projects.
That's right.
And how successful are you?
Well, I must say that our civil society is becoming more and more stronger. Like also Estonian parties need to take into account what the various civil society groups telling to the parties, to governmental officials. So we see government and parties and civil society working hand in hand, solving these critical issues. Sometimes successfully, sometimes less successfully.
You said hand in hand. What made them working together? What kind of process? Obviously, from the beginning, it was not that easy, right?
That's right.
What happened in Estonia so that the civil society works with political parties?
Hard to say.
Social media or what?
I think that the big role is in social media, Facebook, Twitter. People are interacting. Estonia is I think that in the world, one of the most internet usage country. A lot of people have at home computer with internet connection, so it makes them empowers them to have a discussions over the internet. The one problem with that is that you don't need only to discuss in internet, but you also go to meet physically people.
I was surprised with the penetration of internet into the society, and so many public services now are online. What made the Estonian government keep innovating all the time these public services with internet?
Well, it partly has to do with our IT companies that they are really doing a good job. I think that the IT sector accounts about 10 or even more % of our total GDP. So they also those services what are successful in Estonia, and they also apply to elsewhere to the Persian Gulf countries. And
in a way it makes you to get your economy based on knowledge.
That's right.
And you now, are you exporting this knowledge economy to other parts all around the world, Gulf economies?
Yes, many Estonian IT companies, they export their successful projects to Persian Gulf countries, for example, to other places in the world. When I was working as Estonian diplomat in Turkey, then I also introduced many Estonian features to Turkish government officials, and I hope that it inspired them to make some interesting projects themselves.
By the way, to become cello player, how many years you have to study?
To become a professional, I think that at least 20-25 years.
Which you did?
Yes, which I did.
And you have, after this professional occupational disease, you decide to change your career into diplomatic.
That's right.
How did you find the difference?
Well, when this operation happened to me, then I was on the cross line whether to continue my career as a musician or I should do something else. Then I decided to study a year international relations in Estonian School of Diplomacy, and also I applied for a job at the foreign ministry then.
You need to have this job, right? This school for 1 year.
Not necessarily. It was short to say master degree or program, which I completed to get the basic ideas of international relations. But I think that anybody can apply for the job at the foreign ministry. So, and we have at our foreign ministry we have people from very various backgrounds, even from music, as in my case.
Well, very interesting with your career reform and then working as a businesses also and coming to Mongolia. And thank you very much for coming to this show to share with your very interesting idea about this unconditional basic income. population. And I think there will be people who will research, pursue what you have said, and I think you have brought very interesting food for thoughts to the society. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed having me.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Үзэгчдээ өнөөдөр манай Defacto Estoни зочин Вахур Luhtsalu оролцлоо. Баярлалаа.